69 minutes. She'd beaten this player before, twice, both times as a teenager. This time, the kid lost. Steffi Graf Stadion. Rain delay pushes the match into Saturday night. The court's still slick, the air noticeably cooler than the rest of the week. Ball boys wiping down the baseline between points. Eala walks out having already beaten 2 top 10 players in 48 hours, Rybakina gone in the second round, Svitolina gone in the quarterfinal. Both wins still fresh enough that the broadcast keeps replaying them between games. Green shirts line the railing. Fans who flew in just for this, some holding handmade signs with her name spelled in the colors of the Philippine flag. Then Noskova's serve lands like a verdict. 5-2. Set 1 gone in 26 minutes. Eala barely getting a racket on the returns. The rhythm she rode through Rybakina and Svitolina nowhere to be found. For a moment it looks finished. Then it isn't. Eala fights back 3 straight games. 4-3. The crowd back on its feet. The fairy tale reloading in real time. Phones lifting up around the stadium to film it. Then Noskova breaks at love. 3 winners, 1 ace, match over in 69 minutes total. The applause afterward isn't relief, it's confusion, because everyone in that stadium and everyone watching from a couch in Manila at 3 in the morning remembers what these two used to be to each other, and none of it explains what just happened on this court. Here's the part that should not be true. Eala beat Noskova in 2018 in a junior final in France, when both of them were still teenagers chasing the same age group titles, the kind of result that made scouts start writing her name down. She beat her again in 2020, French Open Juniors, quarterfinals, a second confirmation it wasn't a fluke. 2 wins, 0 losses as kids. As pros, 0 wins, 2 losses, both this year. The number people quote is her ranking no. 30, 5 spots up this week, 1 off her career high of no. 29, set back in March. A year ago she was sitting at no 140, a gap that took 12 months to close, an entire career's worth of progress compressed into 1 season. But the real story is smaller and stranger than a ranking jump. The player she used to beat is now the player she can't solve. And the gap isn't closing, it's repeating. But here's what nobody noticed: both losses ended the exact same way, on the exact same shot. Noskova herself downplayed it afterward. She said she felt comfortable on court. Nothing more dramatic than that. The kind of answer that sounds modest until you realize what it implies. She didn't need a big performance, just a comfortable one, to beat the player who'd just taken down 2 top 10 opponents. The WUDA's own match data tells a sharper story. The 6 games Eala won were the most Noskova had conceded in the entire tournament, more than Rybakina managed against her, more than anyone else on the draw. A tennishead.net analysis after the match noted Eala had, in their words, proven her grass court ceiling all week, right up until the one opponent built to break her rhythm. And a Rappler report covering the match pointed out something easy to miss in the score alone. Eala won 3 straight games to level at 4-3, the same exact scoreline she'd reached against Noskova in their first meeting before losing that lead too. Translation from 3 separate voices, 3 separate angles. This wasn't a bad day. It was a specific matchup problem, repeating itself in public for the 2nd time this year, with the same warning signs both times, and nobody outside the analytics desks seemed to flag it until it happened twice. So what actually happened to the kid who used to win this matchup? Look at both losses side by side. Indian Wells in March, broken late, lost 6-2, 0-6. A complete collapse in the 2nd set. Berlin in June, broken at love to close it out, 6-2, 6-4. A much closer match, but the same final movement. Same pattern, different month, different scoreline, dressing up the identical problem underneath. Noskova's serve doesn't give Eala time to use what makes her dangerous footwork. Variety, disguised pace, the tools that dismantled Rybakina and Svitolina across the same week. Against baseline players who rally from the back of the court, Eala dictates the point and wins the chess match. Against Noskova, the point ends before the chess match starts. That's not nerves, and it's not fitness. Those would show up against everyone, not just one player. That's a stylistic blind spot, narrow and specific, and it's now shown up twice on tour after never once showing up in juniors, when serves were slower and the margins were different, until she adjusts her return position and takes the ball earlier against flat, heavy serving. This exact result will keep finding her on the biggest stages, and other players with similar serves are almost certainly watching the tape right now, filing it away for the next time they draw her name. Here's what I want to know from you. Does she beat Noskova next time, or does this become become her bad matchup forever? Pick one. Tell me below. Zoom out for a second, because this isn't just a Philippine story anymore. A 21-year-old with almost no grass court background just beat two top 10 players in 2 days on a surface she barely grew up playing, on courts her own country doesn't have many of. That arc talent outrunning the toolkit before the toolkit finally catches up is the same one writers used for Naomi Osaka before her first major breakthrough. The gap between raw ability and tactical finishing that either closes fast or stalls a career for years. If you've never watched Eala play, this is the entry point, not an underdog story, a real threat with one specific named weakness. On the clock before Wimbledon starts in days, she's already moved on to Bad Homburg, pairing in doubles with Venus Williams, of all people a 21-year-old sharing a locker room with a player who won majors before Eala was born. That's not a coincidence the sport handed her. That's a signal of where people already think she's headed. 69 minutes. That's still the headline, but now you know why it stings. The player she used to beat as a kid just beat her twice as a pro. Same shot, same pattern, 2 losses, 1 year. Wimbledon starts in days, the same surface. Maybe the same problem. So, does she fix the Noskova matchup, or does it follow her to London? Tell me your pick below. This is the channel that tracks the matchup, not just the result.